Hey everybody, PJ back here with another exotic car hacks video. Today, we are going to take a look at dream cars. Now, what does that mean? All of us growing up must have had a single dream car, right? You gotta still maybe have a car you have on your wall right now, or had on your wall growing up that was like the car to own. I know so many people have emailed me saying, listen, the Countach, the Diablo, or they're talking about Koenigseggs and supercars and Bugattis and stuff. And you know, the reality is we all had that one car, right? That was always the unreachable, the crazy car, right? And in the old days, exotic cars were extremely unreachable. Like if you think about the Countach, the Diablo, I mean, imagine how few units they made. They made these few units because they knew there weren't that many, that many owners or people who had the capacity to buy them, right? There wasn't as much wealth in the world and people weren't driving Lamborghinis every two corners. So it was such a prestigious thing to get to. Today, everything has changed so much that cars have become so much more affordable than they were then. So this creates a huge opportunity for even people like you and me to just enjoy some of the greatest cars in the world without having to look at them as a dream. And one of the cars that was such a big inspiration to me, which I was always afraid of and didn't want to really buy for many reasons, which we're going to talk about, was a Lamborghini. And this is not my first Lamborghini. This is like probably my seventh now. This specific Lamborghini, an Aventador, which is to me the greatest looking car under $1 million. And I want to explain what I mean. Now, you just can't get a mid-engine V12 under $1 million anywhere. And I think this is why the Aventador was just such a successful platform for Lamborghini, and I think that is why it continues to remain the king in terms of design and what it really is. And before you sell me, well, listen, it's not a driver's car, the Huracan Performance is faster, this is faster, that's better. I get it. I've owned probably every car you're thinking about telling me is better than this car. But again, there's something very special about an Aventador, especially a Roadster, and I want to share that with you today so you can see what really makes an Aventador, what makes it special, and why at some point or another you may want to check it off your list. Now, if you haven't checked out my other video, which I've done on the Aventador and why it makes sense to buy one financially, you should do that. It's in my past videos. And also, of course, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification on button so you can make sure you're getting these updates, because I'm covering a lot of information about exotic cars from an owner's perspective, not a reviewer. This is the big difference about this channel and others. I own every car I'm talking about, and I think that makes a big difference because I'm not living with a car for 30 minutes to an hour when I'm doing a video. I'm living with a car for months, if not a year, 2 years, and I can truly give you some insights about what it's like to own it. And I've put my own money to buy these cars, so ultimately I am potentially risking my own money, hoping to teach you what is good or bad about making these purchases. So make sure you have the subscribe button and the notifications on, and of course, make sure you like this video, even if you hate me. I always appreciate the love. Let's go take a look at this Aventador and see specifically why the Aventador is such a special car, and what you need to know if you're about to buy one when it comes to the car itself. Follow me out. All right, guys, here it is. Here is my so here is my 2015 Aventador Roadster, and I'm gonna pull it out so you can see it. But right away you can see, kind of in the shadows here, that it's a gray color, which is actually called Grigio Estoque. You'll see in the sun how incredible that is. But this color is actually an ad personam color, so it's a quite expensive color. Even though it may seem on the surface to just be a gray car, it's the furthest thing from the truth. It's a very modified version of the car, so I'm going to pull it out so we can take a close look at it. Hopefully you don't go deaf when I do this, because it's quite loud. And no, it's not stock, for those of you wondering, because what you're about to hear should not be legal in America, but it is. looking, as I said, at a 2015 Roadster. Pretty impressive car overall. This has a $530,000 sticker, very loaded version. In addition to that, it has about $100,000 in modifications, which is actually impressive and very cool. And I want you to really kind of take the design in. I want you to come out here and take a look at this, because I think, I'm going to close the door because I'm not trying to impress you here, and I'm not trying to get you in bed, but come over here and take a look at this. I want you to look at it from this angle right here, and I want you to really see what I see here. So come over here and look at that. Like just show them this, like right there. Look at how beautiful it is. Like just the design is like insane. Look at how perfect the stance of the wheels, the gap. I mean, look at this engine. It's just insane. I just want to show you this because I want you to understand what I'm trying to tell you that is going to be hard to show in video. But look at, first off, take a look at how much carbon fiber is just everywhere. And this is part of all the Novitec upgrades I was talking about. But then look at this. This is the engine bay, and you have glass. This is actual like glass. And it's completely open, so when it rains, technically it's raining in the engine. It's like crazy. This design is insane. And then look at this. How is this not art? I think this is just beautiful. I mean, the carbon brace is an option. It's extremely expensive. This is an option. These are Novitec coils, which again are going to be quite expensive, but allows the car to get lowered so it can sit perfect on anarchy wheels. But you can really see even from the back, if you follow through, you see the carbon lines kind of everywhere, and then you see the titanium exhaust with the bypass, and of course you see here carbon really makes the car. I've always said if people are buying Aventadors without carbon because they don't like to pay the extra money, they're not getting the Aventador experience. The Aventador experience is about this. This car is art on wheels, and it needs to be treated as such, meaning it's not a driver's car, it's not a performance car as much as some of these other cars, it's just art on wheels. So if you're buying art and you're not buying the right frame, it's just not going to look as good. You can see here the wheels, incredibly beautiful 21-22 anarchy wheels, 3-piece gloss black lips, matte black centers, really complements the car, spectacular. And then you can see the carbon OEM here following through on almost every part, which is unbelievable, just unbelievable. I mean, you know, there's nothing more to say in terms of design about this car, because you can see the front again, carrying more carbon, more Novitec. And now you can really see the paint too, what I was talking about the flake here. And the flake just, you know, looks so good in this color, because it really gives the car an essence you don't get with some of the brighter colors. It gives it like the dark night look. And I think if you look at this, I'm going to close the top because you got to take in the design. That's why I keep insisting. But really, the design needs to be taken in. It's just spectacular. Like, it's spectacularly good looking. Like, you just can't beat the design, you know? And so the function of the Aventador isn't as good as you may think. Like, meaning it's beautiful, but it doesn't function as good as some of the other cars on the market, like the 458 or other driver's cars, even like the baby Lamborghini, the Huracan, which are just better. And I just want to show you some basic things here. You just need to know, if I can even unlock my own door. So with the interior again, you're getting, the craftsmanship's actually a lot better than most people think. They did a lot of improvements on the 15. This has the full leather. You see the stitching. You see the cross stitching everywhere. It really gives the design a cool feel. Very, very nice and very beautiful. And I want to show you basically the features inside. But before we get that, I showed you the engine. I want to also show you the trunk, because this is an important part of the car itself. And it's really how limited the trunk space is once you have the top in it. You can barely put a sweater here. I mean, you really have zero room for anything. These are the two tops, which are like the T-tops, like the old days for the Firebird, that go on top of this thing. It's manual process, takes about 3 minutes. But if it rains, it's extremely annoying, because first you got to find a place to park, and then you got to find a place to put this shit on, which is horrible. So that's one of the huge limiting factors here, is you can't even carry a suitcase and put the top down. So really bad thing. But come over there, you guys get in the passenger seat, and I'll get in the driver's seat, and I'll show you some of the basic features you need to understand about the Aventador, which is nonetheless just interesting. So when at first glance here, we're going to turn the car on. You have this jet fighter kind of button here, which again, nothing special. We've seen this in just about every car. Nothing unique. The audio system here I'm gonna turn this off because you're not gonna be able to hear it, but this is your engine start real quick. These are your reverse, manual, and then of course your handbrake. And here you get to choose between your Strada, Sport, and Corsa. In this car, that doesn't matter because everything is already bypassed, so it has all the upgrades. So it just does not matter that the car is in Strada, Sport, or Corsa because the ECU, the TCU, it's all upgraded, and the exhaust is upgraded, so you're not really getting any real variations in function. Here you have all your audio control, your AC controls, your lift, your windows, and all this stuff. Now, this stuff is very, very cool cockpit looking, but it's very primitive in nature that there's nothing really special about the functionality of the tech in this car. Everything is old school, doesn't even have Bluetooth, everything. And it's a 2015. I mean, Kia in like 2015, I think, had like 7 cameras and like multiple like abilities to connect your phone, and this doesn't. You don't get a cup holder. The only way to get a cup holder is to change this panel here and ultimately pay $4,900 to have this panel incorporate a cup holder. And so you really aren't getting much. The only cool feature really is the ability to drop this window. And believe it or not, while it's a very open top car, that window makes all the engine noise come in the car, giving you a real sense of like race-like styling and feeling. And here you have a little, oh, we found a $5 bill. But you got a little cup holder, which it's not a cup holder. It's like a put your wallet or your phone or something. But it really doesn't work. Like, I mean, like who can get to their phone like this? It's just stupid. So a lot of this stuff is just really unfunctional. And I think that's the idea with the Aventador. It wasn't crafted for function. It was crafted for beauty and what I consider to be stunt factor. Meaning, there's no better stunt car than an Aventador. It's the car that gets the attention. And I think that's what it was built for. Is it a performance car? It's fast on a straight line. I don't feel comfortable going over 140 with this. Like, you start really feeling that the car is not going to take you there. Not performance-wise, but like from a stability standpoint, it's kind of risky. On the other hand, with the Performante, I was very comfortable going 160 miles an hour with one hand in the top down, and I was having coffee with the other hand. So very different structure of a car, very unique, but design and function is really there. Now, what should you know about the Aventador? Let's go back out and talk a little bit about if you're buying one, what you need to be considering before doing so. So in my other video, like I said earlier, you can consider the fact that with the Aventador, you want to be buying a 2015 and up. And one of the things I tell people is when you're buying a 2012, which may seem attractive in the mid 200s, you're also missing out on a lot of things such as the actual experience without the issues. You see, 2012 to 2013 was plagued with issues. 2014 and 15 were just significantly better years. 15 had a significant amount of upgrades internally to the car that really made the car just a better car. And it makes more sense as a 15 than any other year, which is why I highly recommend if you're going to be buying an Aventador, consider a 15, and if you cannot afford one, consider waiting to be able to get in one at the correct price at the right time. So I recommend it highly, but I do recommend it highly once you're in a position to actually afford that concept. Now, are Aventadors in a hackable space? Absolutely. Aventadors have been in a position to be hacked now for the last couple of months, which is why I bought this one. But it's very confusing of a market because if you look online, you'll notice price ranges for the same model year cars with the same mileage going anywhere from a 50K spread, which is insane, right? And part of the reason is options play a significant role, but also mileage. And finally, the fact that a lot of cars are either Canadian cars, have accidents, have paint work, and so it's very hard still to find a very clean and perfect Aventador like this one without actually paying a semi-premium over what we consider to be auction values, which are never an accurate description of how exotics work. Make sure you refer back to my other video on MMR values to understand why that's the case. So if you've ever considered buying an Aventador, I recommend buying a 15. I recommend getting some of the options so you make sure you're not sacrificing the art aspect of the car in exchange for a lot of other things. I enjoy this more than anything else, and while I'm not a big fan of driving it, I drive the GT3 RS whenever I want to drive a car just to enjoy the drive. I drive this when I want to show up and I want to get the attention of whoever I'm showing up for. Otherwise, this is pretty much definitely a beautiful car, not so much a driver's car, but an incredibly exciting car. And more importantly, for many of you, I'm sure this is a dream sitting on a poster, and I want to help make it a reality. So if you haven't joined Exotic Car Hacks, this month is your final opportunity to join it at a significant discount because we are in our Black Friday in July sale, and this is your opportunity to jump on Exotic Car Hacks for as little as just $200 for a lifetime membership. This is very important for you to know that because, oh, look at this, look, come. Look, there's a bobcat look, there's a bobcat in my yard. Isn't that crazy? I love living here because we have like a fucking whole zoo over here. We got like foxes. You guys saw this, there's a fucking bobcat. It's like crazy. Anyways, what I was saying, like this is how like you get your ad fucked up, is make sure you're jumping on Exotic Car Hacks right now because it's only $200 for the full lifetime membership, so that cars like these start becoming a reality for you rather than a poster on your wall or a maybe one day, or maybe if I get this, I'll get that. This is affordable because you can buy it, put your money in it, put your money back out of it, enjoy it for a couple of months, and then move on. So I'm gonna go for a drive because it looks like there's a storm coming, and I'm gonna go for a quick drive before I have to spend 20 minutes putting my top up, and I will catch you guys next time. But please click the link, subscribe, like the video. The bobcat might come back if you do that, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.